Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Dr. Renee Dorn. I am Director of Alumni Relations for GSEP. And I thank you so much for joining our Student Alumni Roundtable for the MS in Leadership Suite of Programs. So Pepperdine is committed to the highest standards of academic excellence, where students are strengthened for lives of purpose, service, and leadership. And this is our Alumni Relations team. As you can see, myself, Dr. Renee Dorn, I'm Director of Alumni Relations. We also have today Sophia Henriquez. She is our Alumni Relations Analyst. And we also have Alexis Golston, who is our Graduate Assistant. So if you ever need anything from Alumni Relations, you can contact the three of us and we should be able to help you. All right. So we are thrilled to have 5 alumni speakers today. Count them, 5. And so I will later on introduce you to each one of them, but just so you can see who we have today, we have Viviana Kirby, Kathleen Scott, Kate, Elias Sade, Elias, Vanessa Rosales, Vanessa, and Leticia Estrada. Leticia, thank you all for joining us today. And for our staff from the MS in Leadership suite of programs, we have the program director, Dr. Jennifer Miyake-Trapp, as well as the associate program director, Masa Zojaji. But if you have any questions regarding the programs that you're going to be hearing about today, you can always contact Dr. Miyake-Trapp and Masa. Now that we got the beginning part cleared, make sure that you all have your sound on mute so that you'll be able to hear each speaker clearly. Okay? Wonderful. Okay, thank you so much. So now I'm going to pass the mic to Dr. Miyake-Trapp, who is program director. So she will tell you a little bit about the 4 programs within the leadership suite of programs. Dr. Miyake-Trapp, I pass it on to you.
Awesome. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so glad you're all here. We're doing this kind of dance because we have both current students, some about to graduate, congratulations. And then we also have some of our prospective students. And of course, I'm getting a software update right now. So if I drop off, Mass and Elias are just going to keep on talking here. Here's another software update, impeccable timing. So some of the information may be repetitive for our current students, but I want to make sure our prospective students know what they're getting into. And then, obviously our alums are going to share some reflections and some next steps. But as you all know, our MS Suite is composed of 4 programs. And I'm going to say something that our current students may not want to hear, but it's the truth because things are always growing and changing. So current students, their program length is 5 terms, but starting this fall, the program will be compressed even more to 4 terms, which will mean that you'll be on a quicker hustle through the program. So it'll be 4 terms, and then the same exact structure of 4 to 5 live sessions on Zoom per course per term, and then a hybrid weekend, which is usually the fifth weekend of each term, where you can attend classes in person or online. Okay, but it is required. And our 4 programs are, of course, our MS in Organizational Leadership and Learning, our MS in K-12 Leadership, our MS in Higher Ed Leadership, and our MS in Learning Design and Innovation. I don't want to say anything else that can be Googled. Because that's your homework, right? You're making a big decision or you've already chosen chosen us and now you're stuck with us. So what I do want to share with you is what we hope to cultivate in the program, which is a deep sense of community and belonging. And despite the fact that we are primarily an online program, we want each and every one of our students to feel connected and stay connected post-graduation. And I think that's probably why we have 4 or 5 alums on here, willingly giving up their Tuesday middle of the day lunchtime to be here, because I hope they felt that sense of connection, and are constantly paying it forward by supporting us even post-graduation. So that sense of community is everything for us. And it is intentionally built in the online space through the warmth, hopefully, that you're feeling right now, the welcoming atmosphere, the enthusiasm of your faculty, the nurturing of our staff, and just the overall connection that gets developed with each other and with the larger GSEP and Pepperdine communities. There is somebody who is the magic maker in all of this and is truly the heart and soul of our program and makes kind of everything work beautifully. And that's our associate program director, Masa Zojaji. And as soon as she talks, you'll see like, oh, she knows everything, because she does. And she uses that knowledge to make the student experience a smooth and successful one. So I'm actually going to pass it over to Masa real quick, who is going to share a few of the student experiences and activities and opportunities, just briefly, that either current students can continue to participate in, or you can come back to as an alum, or if you're a prospective student, you can look forward to those in your future. Go ahead, Masa.
Thank you, Dr. Miyake-Trapp, for your kind words always. Pepperdine University's mission was created with the students in mind. And so that definitely transfers over to the MS program, and our students come first over everything. And our student experience is really important to us in this program. That's why Dr. Miyake-Trapp just talked about community and the warmth of our faculty. Everything is so meticulously selected to ensure that your experience is top notch. So I'm just going to talk quickly about some of the activities and programs that MS students have access to, and as alumni you have access to. So I apologize if you are a current MS student or an alum and you have to hear this and you're like, I already know. But for our prospective students, we really take pride on what we've created with Dr. Miyake-Trapp and Elias and members of the virtual initiative team. There's a lot that goes behind the scenes to make sure that you guys have a great experience, and we're just really proud of it. So first things first is when you start with the MS program, a week before the first start of your term, we schedule writing support workshops, library and research workshops, and tech workshops for our students, just so that they're fully knowledgeable about, our courses site, our library database, our writing support center, which is very unique to GSEP, so that they know that there's support there right before they start in the program. And learning management systems sometimes can be really tricky and hard to navigate, especially you're in an online program. You're like, oh, I didn't know I had that due, or how do I access this? So the technology support is really great for our students, just to get them really familiarized with, how to navigate through that really effortlessly before they start the program. So that's the first thing that we do. Throughout the program, you partake in a capstone presentation. And you have Dr. Miyake-Trapp usually is the faculty member for that. So you're really in great hands. And sometimes Elias is the co-teacher as well. So they're phenomenal. So once we do that, we create like a program yearbook for you guys. It has access to all your cohort members and their research projects, a little bit about them, their photos. And we're so proud of everything you guys have done within the program that we just send it everywhere. We put it on our LinkedIn page, we put it on Instagram, or all our social media channels, and showcase off all the hard work and dedication you have put throughout this program. During the program, we offer community time sessions. These are sessions that were initially put into the program during COVID by Dr. Miyake Trapp. She wanted to create a really safe space for our students to feel welcome, to talk about anything program related, life. It was just a safe space for our students really to feel community and feel like they have a good support system around them. So that takes place about 3 times a term. And then also, again, we have access to our career center, which is this is something alumni have access to, but we tell our students right from the start, get an appointment with the career center, get your resume ready, and they will help you connect you with jobs within Pepperdine and then other connections that we have outside of the university. So they're a really, really great resource, and they are forever for our alumni. So you could be changing career paths 6 or 7 times in your lifetime, and they will be there to support you through every change that you want to make. And then as university-wide, you guys are an online program, but you do have access to, you know, our gym, our online health center, our telehealth center, all the libraries across all of our campuses. So those resources are always available, and we love to tell our students that, because oftentimes online students don't feel that they get that campus life, but you guys do, and we share everything that goes on. And then lastly is the biggest one of all, is commencement. So you get to go on that stage, ocean front, with your cohort, your family there, your faculty there cheering you guys on. And it's just such an amazing experience just to conclude your whole educational journey here with us. And then we'll probably pass on doctoral information, so you could just continue that journey on with us and join the doctoral programs and just keep that relationship with us going. But those are just kind of things that, you know, we take pride on, and we love to share with our students and make sure that they participate in all the activities that are available to them.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yes, so lots of community building activities, which is important because you're going to have stellar faculty that are awesome. I mean, Massa and I handpick our faculty. Elias designs these courses with our faculty, and they are exceptional. They know how to teach online, which is a really important aspect of this type of program. So you're going to be in good hands throughout. So that academic piece is locked in, and your social emotional well-being is also a huge consideration, as well as making sure you're involved in the community. So try to really look at our students, holistically, and make sure that they're taken care of, and they know how to reach out to who to reach out to if they ever need anything. So pass it back to you, Dr. Dorn. Thanks, Massa.
Thank you, Dr. Miyake Trapp, and thank you, Masa, for all of that information, wonderful information. So now let's hear from our alumni, and we have 5 alums with us. So I'm going to start with Elias, because both Dr. Miyake Trapp and Masa mentioned Elias. So Elias, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing right now, and why you decided on the program that you graduated from.
Great. Well, thank you all for the opportunity to be here. It is really a blessing to be a part of MS, and I cherish these moments to be able to give back. So my name's Elias. I was born in Lebanon, raised in San Gabriel, so 626, pride over here. And I went to UCI for my undergrad, and I worked as a transitional kindergarten teacher for about 4.5 years. And part of the reason I selected this program is because I wanted to transition careers. And I wanted to go into the field of learning, design, technology, but I didn't, for want of a better word, have the chops or the skills or the knowledge to be able to get into this career path. So I was looking around, I was participating in a lot of info sessions with different universities, but none of them had the warmth and the personal connection that GSEP did. And that was quite honestly what sold me. Aside from all the wonderful benefits that I honestly never thought I would use in the future, like the doctoral pathway, which I'm in now, all of that just was solidified my decision. And then the orientation itself was just the final icing on the cake. When I got to meet the program administrators, I got to meet Dr. Miyake Trapp, Massa, my classmates, Dr. Majidi, and that orientation was quite honestly life-changing. And this program has been life-changing. thanks to this program, I've been blessed to become an instructional designer with this team, where I can continue to build my skills and keep pushing my career forward. So that's where I'm at now. I hope I answered all those questions.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. You know what? One more time, tell us which program you graduated from.
I graduated from the MS in Learning Design and Technology, then called Learning Design and Innovation.
Wonderful. Thank you, Elias. Next, I'm introducing Viviana Kirby. So hi, Viviana, and welcome.
Hi everyone, how are you doing? You can call me Viv. Just like Elias said, just always an honor and a blessing to be able to give back in this way. Never thought I would even be in these capacities, so it's always just great. I'm originally from Texas, but now I'm back and forth between Georgia and California, trying to make it back home to Cali. How I got to MS, MS in pre-K to 12th education. I had a friend, he's actually a graduate at Pepperdine as well, learning technologies, and he would not stop talking about how great Pepperdine is. And I was like, oh, you're getting so annoying. Let me just check it out. I checked out an info session and he was like, you got to do it. And so I just kind of went with his lead, just like Elias mentioned. The orientation is definitely life-changing. Dr. Majidi, Elias, Dr. Matthew Trapp, all of my cohort members from the MS, we still have those connections. We still have those relationships. And my background is I came from the music industry, 14 years, and now this will be my 11th year in education. And so I kind of have a different approach now where I'm an educational and leadership consultant. And so currently I have about 5 clients right now. And so I can kind of work remotely and go in when I need to, but I'm currently also in the EDOL program, which is the EDD in organizational leadership here at Pepperdine. And yeah, that's what's going on here.
Wow, you're doing a lot. Thank you. Thank you, Viv. We appreciate all that information. So next, I'm going to Vanessa Rosales. So hi, Vanessa, welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm very excited to be here. My old classmate, Elias, so very excited, and Dr. Miyake Trapp, of course. So for me, I'm currently, I've been in SoCal my whole life. So, that's just me. I haven't moved. I love SoCal. So for me, I'm currently working as an adjunct professor for the University of Laverne. And so for me, I graduated from the MS in Leadership and Higher Education program here at Pepperdine. And there's, as you all heard, there was really the support. At the time I was working for American Career College for their educational foundation. So I was helping support at-risk high school students who didn't have their diplomas. And so I was really seeking for a little bit more out of my education. I had just graduated from UT Irvine a couple of years ago at the time. And so really was looking for that next step. And so I was looking at different programs, trying to see if I wanted to do educational counseling, if I wanted to do leadership programs. And I really found this program, which was Leadership in Higher Education, excuse me, which is really what I wanted to do, be a leader, an educator in higher education. And this really helped give me the skills and the knowledge to be able to be like an innovator in this field. So very excited for that, but we could talk a little bit later. I'll pass it on.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. Next, we have Kate Scott. Hi, Kate. How are you?
I'm so good. Thank you for having me again. I love doing all these panels as often as y'all invite me. So great to be here.
We'll keep inviting you. We'll definitely keep inviting you.
Thank you. I need this community time. So I'm Kate. I graduated from the MS in Org Leadership program just last year in May. So I'm an LA girl, born and raised, so I haven't left either, much like Vanessa. I'm in the Valley now. I am actually starting a new position in the coming week or two at Cisco as a marketing project manager. That's kind of where I've really found my niche. And I have an entertainment background, and so I think I try to get back and get into academia and really go, but I've really just being at Pepperdine really kind of recentered my purpose and everything, and going back to the organizational stuff that I love, which is project management, and the creative side, which is marketing. So that's been really, really fun for me to bounce around different companies and kind of hone my skills. And now I'm in the PhD program at Pepperdine, so they very much did reel me back in. And yeah, I'm also a graduate assistant at Career Services, which I was for the 2 years I was in my master's, and now I'm back. So yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kate. And last but not least, we have Leticia Estrada. So hi, Leticia, welcome.
Hello, thank you all so much for having me. I'm so happy to be back and share my experience. So happy to see Dr. Miyake Trapp and Elias as well. I was very drawn to Pepperdine from the minute that I showed interest. I think what led me to choose the program was the warmth as well, and that sense of community that I got right from the very beginning. So I had previously gotten my bachelor's degree in psychology, and I was thinking of going the therapist route. And then I started getting really involved on campus as an undergraduate student and really fell in love with the college environment. And I, as a first generation college student, I wanted to be able to advocate for the students and to improve the student experience overall. So I found the whole world of higher ed so intriguing and interesting, and still gave me a way to connect with students and assist people and, you know, be that service person, but in a different capacity. So that's what really intrigued me to the program, was the integration of all these different concepts in order to improve myself as a leader and also better understand higher education policy overall. So I think the curriculum is what really intrigued me as well. And now I'm able to be able to practice what I've learned in my role currently as a graduate programs recruiter at Loyola Marymount University, where I work with the graduate student population to aid them through the admissions process, host information sessions, attend recruitment fairs. And yeah, it's been a great experience, and I'm so happy to be back.
Wonderful. Now tell us one more time which program you graduated from.
I graduated from the MS in Leadership in Higher Ed.
Wonderful, wonderful. So before I open things up for the students to start asking questions, could you tell us some of the challenges that you faced while you were in your particular program and how you overcame those challenges? So I'll start back with Elias.
Okay, thank you, and great question. So when I was thinking about this, I reflected a lot on the program, and the biggest challenge for me was really time management and adjusting my own standards to what Pepperdine had set for me and their higher standards and excellence and expectations. I, coming from the undergrad, it was really challenging to change my writing into more academic writing, practicing my scholarly voice, and managing a full-time job, a GA position, and full-time school. Whereas in my undergrad, I was just a full-time student and part-time work. So that was a really, really big challenge for me to find that rhythm, find that groove, and continue to push myself. I was able to overcome that challenge in a variety of ways. First and foremost was building a support group. I couldn't have done it without my family, my friends, my classmates, my partner, my professors, everybody. I needed everyone on board to be able to push through. And that comes to the relationships you build. If I didn't have those relationships, and the times that I'm stressed or the times I need to pull on my classmates, because I always tell people your cohort are the only people in the world who know exactly how you're feeling and are going through the same program, same professors, same homework, same everything as you. So connect with each other, talk to each other, work with each other. I found that to be really the biggest support group that I could have. And then just always being open to learning. As I was going through, I understood that this is the process for me to learn on how to hit those higher standards that I'm setting for myself and that the professors have for me to be excellent. So just having that open mindset was beneficial.
Now that's good to know. So building a good support system or support group, that's good. Viviana, what about you? What were some challenges that you faced and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, I took some time to think on this one too. I think the first thing for me was coming in. There was a huge gap from my undergraduate. So I graduated in 2008 with my bachelor's degree, and then I came in 2019. So there was that huge gap of, coming from MLA and then going into APA style of writing. And then one of the first classes is, oh, you have to do a lit review. And I'm like, oh, what? Hold on. So just getting over, okay, I'm here. I know I'm able to do this, but let me try to figure out what I need to do. And so that was like the first reality of like, okay, you're really in this thing, you got to do it. And so just reaching out to professors and like, hey, I need some help. I'm not understanding this. Can you help me? And them directed me to the writing center that I did not utilize as much as I should have, but just know that there were resources there. And then for my second semester, it was the beginning of COVID. So the world was changing. So you had the pandemic, a lot of the social justice, so the George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and you just had all of these things. And then my spouse was diagnosed with cancer. So I had a lot of life things happening as I'm trying to navigate this and having, been furloughed. And it was just a lot happening all at once. But again, as Elias said, it is the support system. I could have not made it without my cohort members so many times. I'm like, I'm done. And they're like, no, we got this. And everyone is having that same feeling like, okay, we're done. But it's like, no, we're going to cross this finish line together. The community times that we did during COVID, I did not know it was specifically for that. So I'm thankful, Dr. Matthew Trapp, that you did that. Just sharing and being vulnerable with everyone, saying, hey, I need help. I'm not okay. And understanding that you're not alone and just them being able to. So obviously without God and my family and the support of faculty and my community at Pepperdine, I would have not made it through. And just even now in this program, it's still the same.
Thank you for sharing that. That's very important. To utilize your resources, know what's out there, and to keep on going. That is so important, so important. Thank you. Vanessa, what about you? What were some of your challenges and how did you overcome them while you were in the program?
Yeah, definitely. So for me, there was a lot of personal issues that I was going through, so that really affected my mental health. And so that really kind of changed my dynamic with my work-life balance. And so, I was trying to figure out how to navigate both sides, the work life, the school life. And, for me, the communication and the relationship that I had with my faculty really supported me, really helped me get through that process during that difficult time in my life. And I'm very appreciative of Dr. Miyake Trapp. She knows the full story, and she really helped me kind of, get to where I am now, graduate from the program, be successful with what I'm doing, currently. And so I just think that if I didn't have that support from the faculty, I wouldn't be able to be here. So if there's any issues that students are going through, I always recommend them to communicate with their professors, their faculty, because they are going to be able to support you, especially here at such a place at Pepperdine. So thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. You are so right. Communicating with your faculty is so important. Yes, absolutely. Kate, tell us some of the challenges you faced while in the program and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, this is an interesting question. So I came into the program. I had applied to law schools and like 3 leadership programs when COVID was kicking in. So I was receiving all my decisions. The master's programs were kind of like a last minute thought because law school just wasn't feeling right. So when I kind of made the choice to stick to Pepperdine because it just felt right, I just kind of felt kind of almost a little bit lost here, kind of uncertain. Is this the right choice? Am I like, is this the right path for me? And you hope that the school you chose really shows you that it is. And luckily Pepperdine absolutely did. So that was kind of something I had to navigate that first kind of summer waiting to start first semester, just being like, fingers crossed that this was, the right path I'm supposed to be on. And then, professionally, working, I took the first year to just be in my program and have my assistantship part-time. And then I started working full-time again in my second year. And by the last semester, I had my assistantship, and I had a full-time job and I was my capstone. So that was kind of like just delving of just being like, wow, I am managing all of this. Relying on your community and also just feeling like, I think I gained a lot of confidence in the program as well, just to be like, I can handle all of this, I'm trying to, putting my big girl pants on and saying, I can do this. I have, all this faculty and the staff, just kind of updating them. And I got things going on. I'm the sole caretaker for my mom. She has a program during COVID where we couldn't just take her to a doctor. The hospital was always something that was really hard throughout the program. And again, you just really have to lean on your community and hope that you have that community, which Pepperdine is just, everyone has said it is so fabulous at building that community and having that cohort there. If you're lost, you don't feel, lame for saying, I'm just not getting this assignment. All feeling the same, and them being like, yes, and just having those people around community. And so everyone were just so great throughout the program that anything that was going on personally or professionally or just, up here was just dealt with, and you kind of got through it knowing that, you have people rallying for you and there's people going through with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kate. You're right. It's very important to rely on your community, helps you to gain that confidence, and make sure you continue to have communication with faculty and staff so they know what's going on so they can help you. And Leticia, what were some of the challenges that you faced while you were in the program, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, I think still reeling with like the effects that the pandemic had on my mental health, and just, being confined to a space and not being able to be around loved ones and friends, and not having my being able to walk for my bachelor's degree was really tough. And I was ending a long-term relationship. My grandfather passed away from COVID. It was a really tough time, but showing up to the community sessions and talking to my cohort and realizing that everyone was going through their own struggles, and just made me feel like I wasn't alone, and like, I had a community of people who were still pushing, even faculty. Dr. Miyake Trapp would be very vulnerable, and Elias as well, in our community time about, our thoughts and our feelings and what we were going through. So that made me feel safe and comfortable to express myself. So that really helped. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you all for sharing all your experiences with your challenges and how you overcame them. I think that is so important to be able to do that, to share that with us. So thank you. I now want to open things up to the students who have joined us. So if you have any questions for Dr. Miyake Trapp, for Masa, for our alumni guests, this is your time so that you can ask questions, maybe get a better understanding if you're currently in the program. If there's something that you're currently working on and you need some assistance, this is your time. So let us know if you have a question. Does anybody have a question at this time?
Hi, I think I have one.
Yes.
First, I'd like to thank the alumni for sharing their experiences. I think it's been a really good insight to have. But earlier in the meeting, somebody briefly introduced the capstone project. So I'd love to have more detail on what that really entails.
That's awesome. If I may interject, Dr. Dorn, and actually let some of our current students who just successfully completed their capstone process share, because it's real fresh for them. Is that okay, Dr. Dorn?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Do any of our current students, I see Yvonne on there, Jacob, anybody want to share? Yvonne, maybe?
Yes, of course. Well, my name is Yvonne, and I just finished presented my capstone on Monday. Yay! It was amazing. I learned a lot, but it's not easy. It's really hard work. And I connected with what Elias said about excellence and setting the bar really high, and not knowing how to. I did a paper. I wrote a scholarly paper. The research was hard, but the good thing is that you have phases. And Dr. Miyake Trapp and Professor Kao walked you through each phase in such a way that it's not overwhelming, if I can say that. So yes, it is hard work, but it is something you're researching, something that interests you and that you want to give to others as a gift. So it is meaningful and you grow a lot with it. And in the end, whether you do a scholarly paper or you do a program design, whatever you choose to do, you get to present it to your cohort and you wrap it all up. And it's just an amazing experience. And you learn so much from the others, like when you listen to them. So it's just like you tie the whole program with a bow in the end. So that's how it was.
Thank you, Yvonne. Rachel, I saw your camera pop up. Are you interested in sharing a little bit about your recent accomplishment with the capstone?
I'd be happy to share, and I will also share a couple of other pieces about amazing resources. So my experience with the capstone was it truly lived up to its title. It was very much integration. It was going back through every course that we took every semester and really putting all the pieces together, which had a lot of meaning for me and was incredibly valuable. The support is really there. So I will echo what everyone else has said. I think it depends on your own personality, kind of what support you look for. But I will say that I reached out for the Writing Center early on, and you can choose in-person or written feedback. I think people found different value in each one. I found that they were very different. So written feedback was very different for me than actually meeting with someone and being able to talk over what was happening with my paper. I have to say that in addition to Elias, because I didn't really need him much. I think I asked him one question, but I knew that he was behind the scenes for all of our courses in Sakai. And then Dr. Miyake Trapp, absolutely she's heard me say this before, but just the accountability. Like, you're an adult. You got to show up as an adult, because once you exit this, you're going to have jobs, and you're also probably having jobs while you're in this, and you got to show up for those too, regardless of what's happening. But in addition to those folks, and of course the faculty, Yaz Hardaway, hands down, changed my life. I had a job opportunity within the first 2 months of the program, and Yaz walked me through the application process and the interview. And I have reached out to her multiple times at the Career Center, and literally probably one of the best coaches that I've ever worked with. Just fantastic. So and it came into play with my capstone. I reached out to her as I was doing my capstone, and she said, "What are you most afraid of?" And I said, "Starting a business." And she said, "What if you put that into your capstone in some shape or form?" And it was perfect. So I really am a big advocate for get out of your comfort zone. It's going to be uncomfortable anyways. So just like wrap your arms around it and say yes, and go running towards it, because there are people who have your back and are a safety net. So thank you.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Those are some great answers and great suggestions for resources as well. All of the Career Center and the other resources that we have within GSEP to help with writing, they are so helpful. Absolutely. So those of you who have not gone to the Writing Center, make sure you go. For the prospective students, just know that the Writing Center is available to help you with your writing needs. Any other questions? Jaylyn, thank you. Thank you for that question. Any other questions? Does anybody have? If not, I have some. Oh, yes, Yvonne.
I have a question. And I just love to hear what Rachel mentioned about the center, the career center. I wish I had gone there a little more, although I still have time, I think. My question is, it was bittersweet. It's just amazing just to hit the send at the end, the last assignment, I'm done. And then all of a sudden I go like, now what? Especially as you go through a career transition. So I would love to hear, it seems like a lot of you transitioned, and how did you deal with that kind of like, yes, it's great to finish, but I don't want it to end, but I do want it to end. And how do you move, the first step forward?
So this is for our alums, correct? Yes. So alums, who can answer this question for Yvonne? How did you go from student to graduate and then into the workforce?
I guess I can jump in. And Yvonne, I'm still a student, so I kind of went to student and workplace, and I went right back to student. So I think I just loved it too much. I didn't even stop. I did take a year off to kind of gather my thoughts and figure out where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. Still in the process of that, but that year helped a lot. And then I went right back into the doctoral program for learning technologies. But one of the transitions I made was actually during the program, as it was coming to the end. I believe it was my final term, was when I transitioned from a teacher into the instructional designer role. Once I made that transition, which was very challenging because it was a completely new career with new skill sets, finishing up the final term. But making that transition was only helpful because of my support group. I got to work with Dr. Miyake Trapp, Massa, and the brilliant team, and they made that transition so seamless. And it's only because of them that I started to even consider what would be next. I really wouldn't be here without my mentor, Dr. Miyake Trapp, guiding me throughout these steps, throughout this process, and ultimately like kind of helping me pave the career and the path I want to go, and figuring out like, okay, maybe the doctoral program is where I want to end up being, and I want to continue to learn more. So I hit send, and I hit send right from my application right after. So I don't know if that necessarily answered your question, but.
Thank you. Thank you, Elias.
You know what?
I want to share anything? Viviana?
Oh, did you call on me? I'm sorry.
I love to put you on blast. It's the thing you like least about me.
I know. I was like, please. I was like trying not to make eye contact. Oh goodness. This bullying has to stop. Since you put me on the spot, I think for me, we had a speaker in is it the capstone class, Dr. Miyake Trapp, that we had, Michael?
A leadership class, 680.
Okay, so we had a leadership class, and they had maybe 4 or 5 speakers telling about their experience and what they were doing. And one of the speakers is a friend of Dr. Miyake Trapp and interested in education and policies and a lot of the things. And so I just kind of told her my interest. And because of the connection and the belief that she has in me, and obviously the hard work I've been putting in, she connected me with this particular friend. And this is actually what got me to Georgia, was a position. I met with him, and it just kind of happened. So again, with those connections, you never know, like expressing your interest, continuing showing up and doing the work. Yes, I'm no longer with that company, but I still have a great relationship with that particular school and that company. And I still help them out with certain things. And so that was how I transitioned out of the MS into a job, if you will. And kind of like Elias, I did take a year off instead of going right into the PhD program is what I was initially going to do. I actually got married, so I did not get a chance to walk with my cohort members. It was literally the same day as my wedding. So that's something I'm always sad about. But at the end of this doctoral program, it's going to be so worth it. But Yvonne, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. It's just the connections in any industry. And I know Kate can talk about it, it's the networking. It's about who you know. Putting in that time, hit Google, see what events you have coming up, see what's going on, in your community, on campus. And again, Rachel talked about going to the Career Center, go in there, utilize what you have. It's there. You just have to use it and go for it.
I also wanted to add, so for me, I really, when I was doing my capstone, I was talking to Dr. Miyagi Trapp. I wanted to do another topic, and she's like, no, you talk a lot about your passion for career services. So at the time, I was working as a graduate assistant for the career services department. And so she really encouraged me to do my capstone on career services. And I will say I was a little hesitant, because I was like, I don't know too much. And she's like, that's exactly why you need to do it. And so I really used that project, that capstone project, to really help me with job opportunities, connecting with. So for my project, I connected with different leaders in career services departments across different universities in Southern California. So that really opened up the doors to really have these informational interviews, which is, strategy you can use for job search, and a strategy that I learned from the career services department, going as a student and also working there as a student. So that really kind of gave me the pathway to be like, okay, this is where I want to be. This is the opportunities that I want to go to. And I'm still looking for a full-time right now, but I had the opportunity to work as an adjunct professor because of my master's degree in leadership. So right now I'm teaching courses for the Master's in Educational Counseling for their courses that are in higher education, specifically leadership courses and that sort of thing. So if I hadn't gone this master's, I wouldn't be able to teach those courses. So, it's all kind of those connections that you make, and really for me was using that capstone to what you need to do it, right? Apply it.
Now, Kate and Leticia, for both of you, what are some tips that you can give our prospective students, our current students, regarding the career that you are currently in and how you got there? Any resources that you could provide?
Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of interesting for my field because I am in like big tech now, and that's, as we probably know, it's kind of crazy now with all the layoffs. So it's definitely been kind of scary navigating that. Right, there's a truck going by for that noise to pass. But yeah, so it definitely been. I think with as in careers, like the 2 years only helped a lot because it made working side feel less like transactional, more like it's a natural part of like your career process. Really embrace it and try and get out there and network as much as possible, and hopefully I'll kind of land at the right place. So that was a big part, and it's great that we have access to Yaz like after our graduation. Like I hope everyone knows that like career services is like a for life thing. You don't have to just rely on it while you're in the program. So so that kind of helped, but I kind of got into the big tech world. I started contracting, and that's kind of I think a great way to dabble into like that kind of thing, get to know how each of the big tech companies work for like shorter terms. And that kind of just happened. Someone was in my LinkedIn inbox, like Dice and Well-Found, a few different kind of companies that do that. I think MBO is one. You can find all tech opportunities for like contract if that's something that kind of interests you. But yeah, otherwise, definitely cool. Take advantage of that. And Dr. Nishizaki, he was like, and when you're a student or even recently graduated, like slip into people's like LinkedIn messages, like say, I'm doing research on this, or I'd like to connect on this. I'm a recent graduate. Like in one of my classes right now for the doctoral program, I just interviewed someone at a Disney foundation. So I was like, well, I'm going to use this opportunity. I have to interview someone. I'll like shoot stars and kind of make these different connections. While I was in the MS program, I interviewed the CEO of a bank. So just kind of use like this time as like a student. It's so precious to, say, use it for research, networking, and you never know where that'll lead you.
Thank you, Kate. Leticia, what about you?
Yes, I will also hype up the Career Center. It was great having that resource to be able to revise my resume or work on my cover letter, personalize it for the jobs that I was applying for. And then also, having faculty being willing to review my resume and cover letter and talk to me about my interests and what I envision for my future. That was really helpful too. So really use the resources that you have, because there's people there who want to help. So just being able to put yourself out there, and I think that continues in the position that you will receive or wherever you end up, putting yourself out there, making those connections, building that rapport so that you can be considered for something else in the future, or can envision yourself in a different role, or be thought of when something else pops up. I think within higher ed, that is a big thing, especially. There's constantly positions opening in different departments, and having those connections and those resources, you might be able to dip your foot into something that you might not have thought, or like you become interested in. So that's one of my tips.
Thank you. Thank you. This is all wonderful information. Yes, Ileana, you have a question.
I do. Thank you. Well, thank you everyone for being here, for allowing this to even take place, and for the alum. Honestly, just all of the insights, amazing. One of the questions I have, getting into this program, one of my biggest concerns was this the best fit for me in terms of my future goals? And I was wondering, I'm in leadership in higher ed, and that's because I want to be a guidance counselor, academic counselor. For those of you that maybe were in leadership in higher ed, have you found like maybe that was a concern of yours, or like certain positions that you have found a lot of the people from this program end up taking? Although I understand, really there's so many positions we can take, but some that you may see often, like some of the students land. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. Actually, I'll jump in right away, and then I'm going to pass it to Leticia and Vanessa, who this is their fields now. And also, Ileana, know that Vanessa was an organizational leadership major and is working in higher ed, and Leticia was higher ed and is working in higher ed. So, not necessarily specifically about the degree, but especially our career transitioners, or those who are entering the higher ed space for the first time, end up landing in all sorts of higher ed roles. So many of them get their starts in enrollment, because those positions tend to be open at every institution. Enrollment, marketing, financial aid. And then we also have individuals in admissions, in career services, like as you heard people mention a lot, everybody wants to be the GA for career services, because who doesn't want to work under Yaz, who's been shouted out so many times. Obviously, student advisement is another area. We have students who work in athletics, actually a lot who work in athletics, either because they're graduate assistants, or they also do athletics in terms of the tutoring component, the academic assistance for athletics. International student office we've had in the past, individuals who enter in higher ed in the IT area. So just like pretty much every department, hospitality, facilities, resident assistants, student activities. So it crosses the gamut of all sorts of departments, which is why those who are coming for higher ed specifically should be graduate assistants, because then you just learn all the behind the scenes and all the different areas and ways to work in higher ed that you never even knew existed. Like for me, like I work so closely with event planners that, like Massa and other colleagues, I had no idea that you could work in higher ed and be an event planner. Like that's like, what? And like now one of my closest relationships are with all the events people. And I'm like, okay, but you don't see the behind the scenes. Like, obviously you need events people, but so just even myself growing in awareness of all the different types of opportunities, because, higher ed institutions are full service companies, businesses. So they have every type of department. I mean, we have people who go into HR from higher ed. So I'll be quiet now. But Vanessa and Leticia, any
Thank you.
things you want to share with regards to that?
So I can share. So I, like I mentioned earlier, I had worked as a graduate assistant for the Career Services Department. So because I had created those, relationships with the staff and faculty, I was able actually to secure a position, and through the help of Dr. Miyake-Trapp, I was able to secure a position with Pepperdine University for the Enrollment and Admissions Department. And so working through there, I was able to see, like she said, the behind the scenes, how do students enroll, all of that sort of thing. And so for me, working in that, I was able to align my passion with career services, helping students, make sure that the program they're looking into aligns with their career goals, that sort of thing. And so through that opportunity, I was able to also connect with other institutions, so University of Luverne. And so with that, I was able to now move into the professorship and go into that field. And I'm not looking at it full time right now, but it's something that I've, considered, and now I'm in it, a lot sooner than I thought I would be. But even with that position, you'll hear a lot of people say, well, no, you need experience to get into it. They won't hire you if you don't have any experience. And that's not true. The connections that you build and the ones that I built were able to help me get to that next level. And also the degree, especially the degree. And so for you that you are going to be getting or considering the leadership degree in higher education, that's really going to help you get to the next step. And as Dr. Miyake-Trapp said, there's so many different jobs. There's so many counselors positions that don't require, some require licensures, a lot of them don't. And you'll just hear one side of it, but you don't know that, hey, there's a lot that goes on that you don't need, certain things, right? So just exploring those job opportunities, talking with career services professionals at Pepperdine for life, that's really going to make that key difference.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Vanessa.
And then I also was a graduate assistant. So I definitely encourage that experience as well, because you really get a behind the scenes look. And then I was a GA for GSEP advising. So it gave me a look into that, advising relationship, and just further emphasize the fact that I do want that student connection. So as Dr. Miyake-Trapp stated, I think, admissions and advising would be a great place to look, or even just I think establishing a relationship with a university, like getting in somehow to one of the positions you can navigate around in the future, because they do often do internal hires and consider the people that have been, loyal or working with the institution for a certain period of time.
Got it. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for your insight, all your feedback. And of course, thank you, Dr. Miyake-Trapp. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And I just want to, we have a person sitting quietly in the corner, but she knows everything that happens at the university and is herself a higher education professional. So I'm not going to put her on blast right now like I did with Viv, but I will say that if you want someone who can really give you the landscape, at least from a Pepperdine perspective, I would highly recommend you reach out to Massa. Because she's an alum as well and navigated her way into being an associate program director and running all of us in a very good way, leading all of us as they're running the show. So, she would be a great person to email. And if she'd be gracious with her time, could definitely give you an overview of she works with every department from legal to facilities to career services to everything, and can just really kind of open your mind to all the different areas that are possibilities, because that's what she does every day, all day.
Well, thank you so much once again to everyone for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And it looks like we've gone a couple of minutes over time, but I want to thank everyone for joining us today, and thank you all for providing all of this wonderful information to everyone. Sophia, could you put in the chat a link so that we can get an evaluation from this roundtable? We want to find out from you what you liked about the roundtable, how we can improve on the roundtable, and just give us your feedback. That's what we need from you. So with the QR code and with the link, either one, please fill out an evaluation for this roundtable. And in addition to that, there's also another QR code here for getting involved with alumni relations. We're always looking for people to participate in our events, such as our alumni have done today. And if you ever want to be able to do this again for any other events that we may have within alumni relations, please use that QR code to let us know what else that you'd like to participate in within GSEP. So once again, thank you, Dr. Miyake Trapp. Thank you, Mazda. And thank you to all of our alumni speakers. We appreciate your time and your honesty and your vulnerability with all the information that you provided with us today. And thank you to the students for joining us with all of your questions, just to make this such a wonderful event. And if you ever need to get in touch with us, please contact the Alumni Relations Office and we'll be glad to help you. So thank you once again, and all of you have a fantastic afternoon.